Good day, friends. It's just Prince here, ready to take you on an amazing adventure. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of a country built on resilience and a rich history. Get ready to explore the highs and lows, the victories and struggles that have shaped the Philippines into the lively country it is today. We'll travel through time, discovering ancient customs, colonial influences, and the unyielding spirit of its people. From societies before colonial times to modern day wonders, we'll see the flow of history, the rise and fall of empires, and the lasting strength of the Filipino spirit. Are you ready? Let's begin our incredible journey through time. What's your favorite part of the Philippine story? Leave your questions and comments below. The Philippines, a group of islands with over 7,000 islands, is a place where beauty and complexity come together. It's a land of amazing natural beauty, from perfectly clean beaches to grand mountains, full of diverse ecosystems and unique wildlife. However, it also carries the marks of a troubled past, shaped by being ruled by other countries, wars, and natural disasters. In spite of these difficulties, the Filipino spirit has remained strong, known for its warmth, resilience, and a strong sense of community. Come with me as we uncover the layers of this amazing nation, exploring its rich culture, lively arts, and the unbreakable spirit of its people. Together, we'll go deep into the heart of the Philippines, discovering the stories that have made it what it is and continue to motivate generations. Our journey begins long before the arrival of foreign colonizers, in a time when the islands we now know as the Philippines were home to a variety of indigenous cultures. Archaeological evidence shows that people have lived in these lands for thousands of years, revealing the ancient Filipinos as skilled seafarers and resourceful communities. Imagine a time when the Negritos, believed to be the first inhabitants, roamed the islands, living in harmony with nature. Over time, waves of Austronesian migrants arrived, bringing with them knowledge of agriculture, weaving, and complex social structures. The ancient Filipinos established vibrant communities, developing their own unique systems of governance, trade, and beliefs. They were a people connected to the sea, skilled in boat building and navigation, traversing the vast archipelago and establishing trade routes with neighboring empires. From China, they brought porcelain and silk. From India, spices and textiles. The ancient Filipinos were not merely passive recipients of foreign influence, but active participants in a dynamic network of cultural exchange. Before colonization, many different cultures thrived here. Each one had its own language, traditions, and art. Barangays, led by datus, were spread out across the islands. Busy marketplaces were filled with beads, gold, and exotic spices for trade. Babaylans chanted, connecting the physical world with the spiritual world. Skilled craftspeople created tapestries, jewelry, and carvings. Their beliefs were rooted in animism, respecting nature. They honored their ancestors, believing their ancestors guided them. The arrival of Western powers changed their history forever. Our journey takes us now to the year 1521, a very important moment that would change the future of the Philippine Islands forever. Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese explorer working for the King of Spain, sailed into waters nobody had explored before. Their arrival on the beaches of Homerun Island marked the start of a new age. The meeting of different cultures led to the important Battle of Mactan, where Magellan was killed by Lapu-Lapu. This event led to the Spanish building their first permanent settlement in Cebu in 1565. The Spanish didn't just bring their army, they also brought their religion, language, and way of life. The Catholic Church was really powerful in Spain, and it became a big part of how they took over the Philippines. Priests often came with the soldiers and tried to convert the native people to Christianity. Churches and missions were built all over the islands, showing how much power Spain and the Catholic Church now had. The Spanish got rid of the old way of governing and made a new one where they had all the power. They started cities and towns, built huge churches and forts, and made the native people follow their rules. The Spanish language, their books, and their art started to become part of Filipino life, changing their culture forever. But not everyone liked these changes. Filipinos were very independent and proud of their heritage, so they fought back against the Spanish in different ways. From the mountains to the plains, Filipinos rose up against the Spanish colonizers. Even though people were not allowed to disagree, the desire for freedom and ruling themselves started to grow in the hearts of many Filipinos. Education, which the Spanish brought to help them control the Philippines, actually helped Filipinos learn and become aware. Filipinos, learning new ideas and ways of thinking, started to question if Spain had the right to rule them. They wanted their own country. In the 1800s, more and more Filipinos felt proud of their country. People in Europe were fighting for more freedom, and this inspired Filipinos. They were also angry at how Spain was treating them. So they started a movement to change things. Educated Filipinos, called Ilustrados, wanted more freedom for the Philippines. They wanted to be represented in the Spanish Cortes and for the Spanish to stop being unfair. One of these Ilustrados was a very important person, José Rizal. He was a smart writer, doctor, and very knowledgeable. Rizal's books, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, showed how bad Spanish colonialism was and made people want to fight for their freedom. His writings, full of love for his country and wanting it to be free, became something that inspired Filipinos to fight for freedom and justice. A nation divided. The rise of Filipino resistance. The late 1800s was a time of big change in the Philippines. After many years of being unhappy under Spanish rule, people started to fight back. Rizal's writings made people feel proud to be Filipino, and a new generation was ready to fight for their country's freedom. Secret groups like the Katipunan got people ready to revolt. Everyday Filipinos, farmers, workers, and women joined the fight. This was the start of the Philippine Revolution, a time when Filipinos showed great bravery. From Cavite to Manila, Filipinos bravely fought for their right to be free. Under the Stars and Stripes, a new era begins. As the Philippine Revolution was at its strongest, the United States appeared and changed the island's future. The Battle of Manila Bay in 1898, a major win for the Americans, meant the end of the Spanish colonial empire. The Treaty of Paris gave the Philippines to the Americans, moving control from one foreign power to another. The Philippine-American War started when Filipinos fought back against American rule. Aguinaldo was finally caught, which stopped the armed fight for independence. The Rising Sun, a time of darkness and courage. The early 1900s brought peace and stability while America was in charge. Americans made changes in education, built roads and buildings, and helped people stay healthy. But then World War II started. In 1941, Japan attacked the Philippines. Filipinos fought to stay alive. Thousands died on a sad journey called the Bataan Death March. But the Filipino people never gave up hope. Picking up the pieces, the birth of a nation. As the fighting in World War II ended, the Philippines rose from the destruction, ready to take its place in the world. July 4th, 1946 was a very important day. The United States officially gave the Philippines its independence. Picture the huge celebration as the Philippine flag was lifted high for everyone to see. The road ahead was challenging. Cities were destroyed, the economy was failing, and the war left deep wounds. But even with all the destruction, the Filipino spirit was strong. With willpower, Filipinos started to rebuild their country. The challenges of independence. A nation forged in fire. Getting back on their feet was a long and tough journey for the Philippines, with both good times and bad. They had problems within their own country, their economy was struggling, and there was a threat of communists trying to take over. A group called the Hukbalahap caused a lot of trouble for the new government. But even with all these problems, the young country didn't give up. They started programs to share land more fairly, hoping to help people out of poverty. They also tried to build up their industries to improve the economy. Education became really important, and they wanted every Filipino child to go to school. In 1945, the Philippines joined the United Nations. They became a big part of a group called SEATO, which was formed to stop communism from spreading. Through it all, the people of the Philippines showed incredible strength and determination to build a better future for themselves. The race of a strong man, Marcos, and the promise of a new society. As the 1960s began, the Philippines was at a turning point. Ferdinand Marcos became a well-known figure, promising a new society, a Philippines without poverty, corruption, and unrest. In 1965, Marcos was elected president, shaping the country's future. He started a big plan to build new roads, bridges, and other important things. For a while, it looked like Marcos was going to keep his promise of a new society. Beneath the surface, the shadows of dictatorship. Underneath the appearance of progress, a darker truth was emerging. Marcos, hungry for power, took apart democratic systems and silenced anyone who disagreed. In 1972, Marcos declared martial law, saying it was necessary because of unrest. Suddenly, the country was completely different. The constitution was put on hold, media outlets were shut down, and anyone who opposed Marcos was arrested. The military put a stop to any opposition. Marcos's new society became a dictatorship ruled by fear and dishonesty. But resistance was brewing under the surface. Activists and advocates refused to be silenced. The People Power Revolution, the assassination of Ninoy Aquino, shocked the entire Philippines. Millions of Filipinos were outraged. They took to the streets, mourning his death and demanding an end to Marcos' rule. Marcos called for a snap election in 1986, hoping to prove his rule was legitimate. The opposition rallied behind Corazon Aquino, Ninoy's widow. The election was full of fraud. It became a fight for the heart of the nation. Millions gathered on Epifanio de los Santos Avenue, showing incredible unity and bravery. The fragile journey of healing. The People Power Revolution forced Marcos to leave the Philippines, ending his 20 years in power. Corazon Aquino, also known as Tita Cory, became president, bringing hope and democracy. The nation showed how powerful peaceful resistance can be. Rebuilding important organizations and healing from the past was a huge task. The 1987 Constitution protected democratic ideas and human rights. It showed the nation's promise to a future without a dictatorship. A nation in constant evolution. After Marcos, democracy came back and the country focused on the economy. The leaders that followed Marcos had to deal with poverty, corruption, and inequality. The Philippines became active in the world again, standing up for democracy and human rights. Natural disasters were a huge test for the Filipino people. Even in the hardest times, the Bayanihan spirit, the spirit of helping each other, was strong. The Philippines has come a long way in the last few decades. The economy changed and the tech industry started to grow. The Philippines is always changing and working to be its best. Bayanihan and the Filipino soul. The strong spirit of the Filipino people is truly something special. From the time of the ancient barangays to the People Power Revolution, Filipinos have always shown bravery and the ability to bounce back from tough times. Through being ruled by other countries, wars, and natural disasters, the Filipino spirit never gives up. Bayanihan, a spirit of everyone coming together and helping each other. Neighbors help each other rebuild after typhoons, and volunteers give out food to those in need. Bayanihan is proof of the strong community and kindness in the Philippines. You can see it in their welcoming nature, their laughter, and their strong faith. They overcome challenges, becoming even stronger and more determined each time. A future forged in hope. Today, the Philippines is at an important point, full of potential but also dealing with its past. Even though there are challenges, there is hope. Filipinos believe their country is on the edge of becoming great. The future depends on its people, especially the young people. Filipinos are known for their talent, creativity, and strong work ethic. They have big dreams, they are not afraid to take chances, and they believe they can achieve anything. Driven by Bayanihan, Filipinos are ready to create a future that honors the sacrifices of their ancestors. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.